are recording episode 2 of the DP show, filmed on 11/13/2024. Initially did not plan on doing a podcast until Sunday. We talked about it, trying to do podcasts every Sundays. But I don't know about you, but kind of been thinking about doing another one since doing the first one.
Yeah.
Let's see here. The fucking process of getting the first one uploaded was a lot more extensive than what I initially thought. So we made the mistake of recording from 8 to 9:30. That's my boss calling. She'll see this. We were recording from, we started at 8 and then ended at 9:30 at night, and then tried downloading, then uploading onto a software that we've never used before.
Yeah.
Thought that'd be a good idea. Messed up on that plenty of times. And then ended, what, was it midnight or something like that when we...
Yeah, midnight that night. Maybe a little bit later.
Yeah. And then the next day, we both get home from work and stuff from the gym around 9:30, 10 o'clock. Started editing that. Didn't get done until, 12:30 again?
Yeah.
1 o'clock.
We were trying to upload it too.
Yeah. And then the following night, we were trying to upload it, and then I went to bed around 12:30. You about what, 1:30 in the morning?
Yeah.
Still couldn't upload it, and then we had to get up at 6:30, 7 o'clock the next morning to finally get it on YouTube. Yeah. So, hour-long podcast went to probably another 8 to 12 hours of uploading, and it was just based off our own ignorance, right? Because we weren't even thinking about, getting help. Or actually, we do have help coming today, thankfully for Reagan, but we were not, but we couldn't wait, so.
Twice.
Yeah, so it was,
Yeah, it was definitely a long process that we were just not expecting to get into at all.
No, and I mean, you can do the research on how to use this stuff, but I mean, it's almost better just to jump feet first. But it was still fun doing it, but this next one should be able to go up a lot better.
Half the time.
Yeah, and then we got help, obviously.
Yeah, go into more depth about how to do certain things, clip certain things, how to make it easier, downloading it from the SD cards to the files, into this file, and try not to waste so much time doing it.
Yeah, it shouldn't take for an hour-long, 55-minute episode to be 12 hours-ish, 8 to 12 hours of uploading between the both of us. Very happy with how first episode view-wise turned out. Only 38 views, but that's 37 more than what I expected. So very happy with that. Obviously, a lot of stuff to get better at, especially me talking on the microphone. As Mom mentioned, talking to her about today, probably not saying as many bad words as I have been saying. I'll work on that one. So...
We're up to 1 so far.
Sorry, Mom, on the 1, but I'm going to clean that up for the rest of podcasting, because not the message we're trying to deliver. And then touching base on topics, she brought out a great point of going more in depth on topics. That's something we're going to try to incorporate. We talked briefly about starting this episode. Do we want a direction to go to? Yes and no. I mean, more so when we get more viewers, if that ever happens, comment what you want to talk about or hear about, then that's a better direction for us to go. If not, we're just going to talk about situations, personal opinions, and really whatever comes to mind, whatever we want to talk about. Eventually have guests on we can talk about more too.
Yeah.
But outside of that, I mean, unless something's crazy happening in the world that we can confidently talk about, we'll do so. One thing I do want to talk about is Bitcoin. Did you see what Bitcoin went up to today?
Oh, yeah.
92,000, I think it was.
Yeah, it hit 92,000, but it's already drawn back a little bit.
Is it? Yeah, I'm going to look it up right now.
Last time I checked, yeah.
Bitcoin, yeah, back down to 89, which, before the election, it was sitting around 64, 65.
Yeah.
Is that, yeah. So
at least below 70, which is insane.
Tremendous increase, which I think is pretty typical after election. The stock market goes up, but I don't know if it goes up to this extent, because 70. So that's like about a 22% increase from 70,000 to 90,000. Yeah, that is a legit 22% increase. Yeah. That's crazy. That's crazy. So if you have Bitcoin, I was thinking about earlier today, did you hear about the guy that had that USB drive with X amount of Bitcoins on it that was in the garbage? that poor guy, if he has not found in the garbage dump where his USB drive was of X amount of Bitcoins, he's probably hurting right now because it is at its new high. I'll be curious to see if it keeps going up. Somebody that plays around with this stuff that I recently met, he said that Trump was going to try to add, I don't want to misquote, but a substantial amount or more Bitcoin versus the, I think, 45 that are made a day. So I'll be curious to see what happens there, how it increases, and how Bitcoin is going to be used for transactions. Is that more of a digital currency that we're going to go to? Obviously, one, you don't see change anymore, like actual change, right?
Yeah, I mean, everybody's using credit cards or tap to pay or their Apple Pay.
Even cash is kind of going to the wayside. I don't personally always carry cash. Always have it on hand, but not, directly in my wallet every day, because you either have a credit card, debit card, or you use tap to pay with your phone. So curious to see what if Bitcoin's going to be a change in pace on that. I don't know much about it or what that looks like. I know a lot of people I've talked to don't necessarily like crypto because it's not a tangible thing really. Like the stock market where you're investing into a company. I know the stock markets, you have to buy individual stocks. Like crypto, you can buy partials and halves and stuff like that. You can't do that in the stock market. You got to buy it full individual stock, which makes sense when you're investing into a company that is a legit company. So,
yeah, but it is a currency. So, like, if you were to trade in U.S. dollars for pesos or pounds,
right,
the conversion would be the same.
Yeah,
as trading U.S. dollars for Bitcoin.
Yeah, I'll be curious to see what that does. Hopefully, Ethereum follows a similar track of Bitcoin, because I have a couple dollars in Ethereum, which I know you've done pretty well with Bitcoin. You have you've taken that route more than I have, and I think Jack he mentioned like 3 months ago to put money in Bitcoin. I'm sure fantastic,
Yeah, without giving too many numbers away, I'm up 100%.
Right. Yeah.
So like,
I mean, you cannot.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, you cannot be, especially with only investing in Bitcoin. What, like 2 years ago max is when you probably bought your.
Just the initial deposit.
Yeah, the very first
a
one.
Couple bigger deposits, but most of the time it's $20 a week or.
Yeah,
or even like 40 a month.
Yeah,
like it's not a big thing.
Yeah, but over time that adds up. I mean, it's just like what they say. Like, if you start putting $100 a month at the age of 25, set up for retirement, you'll have over $1 million saved up for retirement. But if you wait till age 30 to start putting $100 a month, you'll have like $300,000 saved up when you retire in the 60s. So just even that 5 years it's worth $700,000 if the normality of the increase of investments where you put either Roth IRAs or whatever you do for mutual funds for retirement, that can change a lot over just a 5-year term, So if you're around that age, and $100 is pretty easy to start out with versus trying to play catch up, in your 30s, 40s, because now you're like, oh shit, I got to retire, how am I going to afford that, So not a bad avenue to look at either. So.
And we're not financial advisors by any means.
Nope. Nope. So if you go to court and show this video, we don't know what we're talking about. Once again,
no.
We're gonna say that a lot, but we have opinions, as does everybody. So we're gonna talk about them.
Yeah. Before you jump into anything, do your own research, please.
Yeah. I do research when I have time. Most research I've done is probably NVIDIA, and even that definitely could be more research done. That's why I haven't put more in it. Excuse me. I just put initial investment, and so far, so great. And I think it's got a huge upside, especially if you're going to look at a long-term thing. I think NVIDIA have told a lot of people to put money into that. So,
yeah.
Let's see. What were you telling me? I want to talk about that story with that dog. So you're walking.
Yeah, I was walking Sam, and this lady.
Sam's our dog, by the way, that we got from the Humane Society. Sam. Anyway, go ahead.
But yeah, I was walking Sam, trying to get a little exercise in, and this lady was sitting in her golf cart in her driveway, and she was waiting for her kid to get dropped off. And she started talking to me about Sam and all that, and she was like, "Yeah, we had a couple dogs, and then like one of them would like roam around, like house to house, you know,
kind of like
free
range type, yeah, free range,
and she's like,
yeah.
You know, we're kind of in the country, so like I figured it was okay, but like the lady over there would always complain, and then the old neighbors right next to us would complain, so we like tried to keep them in the backyard, but then like the storm messed up her fence or something.
Yeah. Back in Kentucky, a year and a half ago now, we had a huge tornado that went like 250 miles through Kentucky, and we obviously were affected a little bit by that. But
it wasn't anything like too serious around our area, but it definitely.
The other side of town, it absolutely devastated. Yeah. Go ahead though. Yeah.
But she said the storm messed up her fence, and it would like get out and it roam around, and her neighbors hated it. And then she said it got sick. She took it to the vet, and then she said they told her that her dog was basically poisoned and it had gotten into antifreeze. And she was like, I don't know how that would have happened at our house, so we think the neighbors poisoned our dog.
Yeah,
which is insane.
It's kind of a crazy conspiracy to...
We're keeping Sam on a leash.
Just to throw it to a typical neighbor walking by, that's a crazy conspiracy.
Over, like, I don't know what the dog was doing in their yard, but like over some crap in your yard, it's kind of crazy to poison somebody's dog.
I don't know if you were gonna poison an animal, would you say it was? They use antifreeze.
Yeah.
I don't know. Most dogs, like if you ever have a dog smell gas or anything like that, they typically run away or they don't drink it.
Exactly. So you like almost have to pin it down and force it down.
Yeah, that's a crazy conspiracy just to toss out to a neighbor walking their dog.
Yeah, she told me that. I was like, whoa, that's crazy.
You're sitting here waiting for your kid to get off the bus, and you're just gonna throw this out at me.
Yeah. I mean, she was a really nice lady.
Yeah, I'm sure.
She said her dog got poisoned by her neighbor.
Too much time at home, I guess. I wonder if she has a neighbor pinned out, like...
She said it was either the house right next to her, there was like an older guy that used to live there. They don't live there anymore. And then there was like one across the street, and she was like, I think it was her, because she really got upset whenever my dog was in her yard. And I was like, wow. That's horrible. That's awful. And I didn't know what else to say. I was like, wow. Well, I guess we're gonna keep him on the leash and make sure he stays in our backyard.
Yeah.
Because it's fenced in.
You gonna be real wild though? It wasn't us, but like, what if we did? Yo, what if like ever think about that? Like you like talking something bad that happened, and like you're talking to the person that did it.
Oh yeah, that'd be awful.
That would be awful.
Like you accidentally ran over somebody's chihuahua or something, or their cat.
I haven't seen my dog in 8 months. You're like, yeah, I don't know, man.
No, I got a story like that actually. When I was little, I was like 3 or 4.
Yeah.
And I I had a wild imagination. We moved to Oregon for a couple of years.
I didn't even know that. That's crazy.
Yeah, we lived in Oregon.
That's crazy. Okay.
Mom had to move for a job.
And, yeah, my mom almost did too for Nike. Yeah.
Yeah, and we lived in Oregon, and the neighbors, for some reason, I found a nail or two in our yard. And I was like, these neighbors got it out for us. They're throwing nails in our yard.
Yeah.
So my wild imagination was like, I'm gonna get them back. Their cars is pulled into their driveway, right? They got to back out to get out of the driveway. So I propped the nails on. As like a 3-year-old.
Go ahead. I got to start.
3-year-old has the idea just to prop some nails up behind their wheels. So when they pull out of their driveway, it makes their tires flat on a Monday morning.
100%. Yeah.
On a Monday morning.
Yeah.
And they're really nice people, like Christian people, invited me to church. I would go to church with their kid. Like, it was after the fact, but they started talking to my parents, and I was like hanging out, like, what's going on? And they were like, we had the most awful week last week. I was like, oh god. So we go to work or we're running late, and we had a flat tire, and we couldn't get to work and drop a kid off to preschool or whatever. And I was like, and like I didn't think much about it because I was like, oh, these guys are cool. Like, and then I forgot about it. And then later on in life, I started thinking about it. Like I was just connecting the dots. I was like,
4 years old? Be like, oh shoot.
Yeah. And, the crazy stuff happened in that house. That place was also haunted.
Yeah, that was Oregon's a weird place to live. Never lived there, but I mean, it's just on the coast. It's super cold, and that is
No, that story is so funny. It's just
we're gonna.
We're such great neighbors.
We're gonna take a break, reset the camera, and then have a story to go on the back side of that. Okay.
Yeah.
1 second. And we're back. So, story time on your nail childhood with your poor Christian neighbors. That.
Yeah.
So I think this is why we're best friends, and we just. Hi, Sam. Sam's gonna always be a part of it. He's our co-host, our dog in the chair, if you will. I think this is why we're best friends, because in my childhood, nobody ever did anything to me, but I was at my neighbor's house, and we had a dirt road in Michigan where I grew up, and that's where, you can dig in dirt roads. So I would take nails and dig a little hole and put a nail in the road and line up 4 or 5 so people would drive over them. So once again, nobody ever did anything to me. But once again, put nails in roads to flatten tires. I don't know if I've ever told anybody that, but I think
everybody knows.
I think it's been long enough ago where this is all just hypothetical speaking because we're on a podcast. So
exactly,
hypothetical speaking. So outside of that, funny childhood story is growing up in Michigan. Obviously, a lot of snow and ice up there. What we would do is for fun, other than playing 4-wheeler tag, which is, you got to hit each other. That's how you tag somebody in tag, right? We would, I was younger, riding 4-wheelers. We would put helmets on, luckily. And my brother, who's 4 years older than me, and his buddy would throw snowballs, quote unquote, at us, right? That's fun, right? Snowballs, as an older brother, leads to ice chunks, if you didn't know. So we would be driving up and down the road or through the trails and getting foot wide ice chunks thrown at us. And on top of that, Dad would pull us behind the 4-wheelers intentionally. And childhood was great. It wouldn't change it. But intentionally put me into trees just to quote unquote toughen us up as kids. So that's what it's like growing up in a fun household in Michigan with snow. So
you did a little rough housing.
Yeah, and you would play the fun games of throwing snowballs at cars and stuff like that as they drive by, and airsoft guns and shooting each other and seeing how many times you could take it shot with airsoft guns. And
airsoft guns are fun.
They're remember when airsoft come out with the CO2 canisters ones, like how they're like so much crazier? Yeah, those would be painful. I remember down the road we built like this huge fort, probably like a 20 by 30 fort with sticks. And actually, funny you talk about it, I have it's an electric one, but I have it in my closet right now. It was an electric AR. And I was just standing there. I was probably like, 10, 12 years old. And my neighbor accidentally shot me with it, like point blank. And it was so painful. Yeah, I hated those things growing up.
Yeah, we got into it in like end of middle school, beginning of high school. We got a bunch of airsoft guns.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, I just want to see what it feels like. Some buddies of mine, and they were like, okay. And 3 of them with airsoft guns. Like, oh, okay, yeah, we'll test them out on you. And I was like, just one person shoot me. No, it's a whole firing squad. It was like an execution. Like,
yeah, everybody had a bullet in the chamber, not just one person.
It wasn't like the little bang, bang,
yeah,
bang.
Yeah, it was
the fully auto mode, just 3 people. It was awful. Oh my gosh. And I was running away, and they were chasing me, shooting me down.
Oh, so we had at home in Michigan, a great household to grow up in. We had 25 acres of just pure trails for 4-wheeler riding, cutting trees, to burn wood to heat the house, whatever. But all the neighbor kids and myself and our friends, my brother's friends, would come over to our house to play airsoft because we had all the trees. Well, Dad would clean the house and stuff like that, the outdoor stuff, and we always ended up playing airsoft by the garage, around the house, and Dad kept telling us, I'm going to smash your guns if you guys don't play out in the woods. And I'd be damned if we didn't go play out in the woods. And he got this huge wooden block in a splitting maul, or a sledgehammer is what he got, and grabbed all of our guns, my brother and I, and one by one smashed them all in front of us. And then had us pick up the mess and throw them away. And I think that was the last time I ever played airsoft guns, because you're 12 years old. You don't make money, so you can't go buy them. I mean, you've got like 3 Christmases of airsoft guns that you're playing with. So, yeah, in our household, if you were told to do something and you didn't change what you were doing or go do it, there was obviously repercussions.
Did you cry?
Dude, I was blowing my eyes out, bro. I was so upset. I can't be mad at him because I 100% didn't go out in the woods and play.
Same thing happened to me. I had a bow and arrow, and it was a compound bow, and I was shooting it at this target, and my brother, we were down this hill, and my brother was like up the hill and like 20 yards to my right, and I was shooting it.
Yeah, but way too close.
No, it wasn't even that close.
Oh, okay, okay.
Like, I was shooting this way, and he was way over here, and like up the hill a little bit.
Yeah.
So like,
our
house was up on the hill.
Yeah, more than likely you
and
would
my
be
sister comes out and is looking down at the hill.
Yeah.
So it kind of looks like he's standing right in front of me.
Oh, they thought,
but he's like way off over here. So like at that angle, it looks like he's in the direction I'm pointing the bow and arrow. And I'm like, no, he's fine. Like, it's chill. Right. Like I'm pointing it the opposite direction. And then, no, my dad hears that I'm pointing my bow and arrow at my brother and just takes it all, every arrow, just cutting them up in half. He's like, oh, you think it's funny? I was like, this is my Christmas gift.
That's not a...
Yeah, I cried too. But,
yeah, were you about 12-ish?
Probably, yeah.
Yeah, 10, 12? Yeah, we had a similar childhood then.
Yeah. It explains a lot, like why we're so close.
Yeah. I think in the 5 years of living together, we maybe have had one confrontation. I don't even call it an argument. I don't think we ever
Nothing like too serious.
No, other than like normal, not even
like
normal stuff. We just
forgetting something. Like, make sure you do this.
Yeah,
or
but
can you do this?
even that, like,
you forget, and it's like, well, it gets done the next day.
Yeah, it like gets done. So that's another great thing.
Yeah, and the other part of it is just like our own standards of living.
Yeah, they mesh up. We've had people live here that it didn't necessarily work out, not because they're bad people or not because they weren't initially living here. It's just some people don't, just like relationships. It is a relationship basically.
Yeah.
I mean, it just sometimes it doesn't work out, but I mean it's just we've been lucky thus far. But yeah, we have a routine now. You know what I'm not excited about? Setting up that Christmas tree.
Don't say that.
Yeah, actually, I take that back. I am absolutely thrilled to be setting up this Christmas tree that apparently, surprise, on Pinterest you see a Christmas tree and the whole aspect of a house that looks all pretty. You get instructed to order something, and I cannot wait to set it up today, tomorrow, more likely tomorrow. So
I can't wait to watch that process.
The next episode you guys see, episode 3, will have a Christmas tree in it.
Yeah, it'll be all festive.
Yeah, it's going to be so cutesy, quote unquote, was what I was told this room's going to be, is cutesy. So I'm thrilled, as you could probably imagine.
Yeah.
Gotta love them. Anyway, I may not be in episode 3. It may be just Payt because after this stuff gets out, yeah, but it's good. It's good. Yeah.
Just tell her to skip this episode.
Yeah. I'll just say the editing is terrible. The voices are terrible, and yeah.
So much happened and didn't work out.
Yeah.
We might just cut that whole segment.
Yeah, I mean, we may find
we have the power.
We do. We don't know how to. Yeah, we do know how to edit. Cut
not
out a
very
clip.
well, but like we're getting there.
I think the scissor thing on editing makes you be able to clip stuff. So.
Yeah.
Life goes on, right?
That's right.
Let's see what else has been happening. How's the gym going? Good. That's what I was going to talk about. I went through, did a bodybuilding show, and prep was 17 weeks, I think, 16 and a half, 17 weeks. Obviously, if anybody's ever done it, if you've done something similar to it, it is a very strict diet, very strict workout plan, and getting off of that and then being able to just now go to the gym 5 days a week and purely just trying to gain size back again to what it used to be has been very fun recently. And you can just go in there, lift heavy just and eat more food. Obviously, I've been eating junk past week and a half to clean it up starting off Monday or last Monday, but it's been phenomenal going back, resetting everything and just trying to gain weight again, lifting heavy. It feels a lot better. Yeah. So,
would you want to talk about that, the whole process?
Yeah.
Like everything you went through, all the struggles and.
Yeah. No, I'll talk about the end caption and then I'll bring it back from the front. For people starting off wanting to get into the gym, where am I going with this? That's what I was going with this. If you're trying to gain just size, you're going to have to sacrifice a little bit of form with your workouts for heavier weight to gain size, right? And if you're trying to lean out, like if you're a little bit of experienced person who's been working out, trying to get in better shape, leaner, you're going to want to have more form, hit each muscle, tendon, fibers, whatever, and do a little bit lighter weight, and you really want to focus on your form. So just a little tidbit for whatever trajectory you're trying to be on, just know that. So like the past 17 weeks have been straight form, right? You want to do this, don't want to overlift, don't want to hurt yourself as you're depleting yourself. Now it's more, sacrifice form just a little bit, not to where it's unsafe, but where you can finally lift heavier. and I miss being able to do that. You know, especially previously. You know, when early 20s, like 19, 20 was when we started working out together, lifting as heavy as possible. You know, kind of being stupid, ego lifting, but that's what a lot of people do when they first get in the gym.
Those are kind of fun. Yeah.
I enjoyed it.
Yeah. I mean,
put up good numbers for that age, so not mad. But yeah, the whole process. So the boss is home. So the whole process. Hello, honey. The whole process really started a year ago on getting set up for a show. Got with a coach, Brandon Alexander. Good coach, very good coach. Got set up, and we went through a bulking phase for about 6 to 8 months. And what you do there is you try to put on lean tissue. You're going to be a little bit heavier and put on a lot of lean tissue, and then you start cutting it off in that 17-week process, which that's when it starts getting hard because you can't eat. You can't go out to eat. You know, if can you not have him run around, please? Yeah. So the boss is home apparently. So yes, the whole 17-week process, you can't go out and eat. So like, what do we have? Birthdays, like my own birthday, couldn't do anything, you know. So a lot of that, there's a lot of sacrifices to going up into a show with eating. Cooking becomes an everyday thing. I know you experienced that with cooking.
Yeah, there's a lot of cooking, but I mean, it's definitely healthier.
Yeah.
You feel better.
Well, and then another avenue people can do is a lot of people like pay for meals. Like you can sign up like subscription based. You can get meals in. You did that one time, didn't you?
Yeah, it was.
What was that company? Factory.
Yeah, Factory.
Factory. Yeah. And get meals in. That's a good way to do it. If you don't like cooking, or you're not prepping for a show and you just want to eat healthier food. Or like a local company here, Fuel Nutrition's phenomenal. It's cheaper than going out to eat, which that's what a lot of people struggle with. Is it's more expensive to eat healthy, like
time consuming. Also.
Yeah. Like I mean, when we buy beef, was it $8 or $9 for maybe 10 ounces of uncooked beef?
Yeah.
You know, for the 97. Was it 93% lean beef or something like that?
Yeah.
So yeah, understandable with you go buy a box of Pop-Tarts and it's $2 versus $9. You know, like I totally understand that. But definitely try to find healthier ways to eat. But cooking will be a huge portion of if you're prepping for a show, to where you're cooking your breakfast and you get home and typically you're going to cook your dinner or cook enough meat and vegetables for the next day. And then, depending on your coach, you're going to have either check-ins twice a week or check-ins weekly, and your meals change. Mm-hmm. You know, the food typically stays, the type of food you're eating is typically going to be the same, but your amount is going to change. So that means then you're going running back to the store. So not only are you just typically go to the store once a week, once every 2 weeks, I was at some points going to Kroger 3-4 times a week to get more food that was needed to prep, because I'd say you're eating green beans 1 week as a vegetable and you have check-ins, and then asparagus. Well, you can't just supplement. Yeah. You got to eat what's on the plan, because...
And then you're supposed to be eating so much turkey, and then you're expecting to get the same amount or the same amount of beef.
And then it's chicken.
It's double the next week.
Yeah. Like you're going through high days right now, so a lot more rice and potatoes.
Yeah, a lot more.
Yeah, so it's definitely a change in pace with going from either bulking or just normal life, where you can go get Subway or go get the healthy meal from your local health store, to 100% prepping everything yourself. And luckily my girlfriend helped me cook a lot, but without that, then you're 100% cooking yourself, you know. Would recommend an air fryer. That's a huge huge help for like cooking potatoes and green beans and zucchini and stuff like that.
Yeah, without having all the fryer grease and everything in your food and making it super unhealthy.
Right. And then using like extra virgin olive oil or ghee butter, just healthier fats. To use our beef tallow is really good for cooking in versus just your actual stick of butter or almond butter for peanut butter and stuff like that. That's a lot better than just regular peanut butter is, but we're going to do a quick pause and then we'll be right back. And we are back after break. Kind of like having that 20-minute interval.
Yeah, it gives you a second to
go drain the dragon. And grab a little snacky or something like that,
Yeah.
But yeah, enough about snacks. So what is, I know we talk about it a little bit, but what is prepping like for you and what you're doing? So obviously down a total 100 pounds from the start. What is prepping like for you for what your goals and how close you are to the end of your goal to then restart to trying to gain muscle and stuff?
Mm-hmm.
Like, is there what's difficult, what's easy, what's a routine now?
Well, honestly, the most difficult part is just like being consistent with it and like making sure you do it every week, get the same amount of food every week.
Because you've been 7 months now? You've been doing it?
Yeah, I've been prepping for 7 months.
Yeah.
Like my food, and it's not really difficult because I do it in like the laziest way possible. I cook as much as I can for the week.
Yeah,
without
like 2
it
pounds of
going bad.
potatoes. Yeah.
And then I pack it the night before, whatever I need the next day. And other than that, it's pretty simple.
Mm-hmm.
I keep it very simple. I don't use a bunch of sauces or anything, and make it a huge mess. But like,
you cooking.
It's definitely a process.
And the food flavoring's definitely not as good as if you are cooking just for like a meal for you and somebody else or just you.
Yeah.
The flavoring's not as good, especially if your peak week when you're in prep is like the week leading up to a show, which is the most important week. Is when you look your best and you start out like I started out at 2.5 gallons of water, and then the day of the show I was at 4 ounces of water per meal and 8 ounces in between. Well, that food you don't use any seasoning, so like just understand that if a show's ever something you're considering, is you got to look at food as fuel, not to taste good, right? Yeah. So just like what you're doing.
And the taste for me is like, I'm not very picky about what I eat. I can throw some ketchup on something and make it...
And eat the same thing every day,
and eat the same thing every day, which I'm totally fine with. And not everybody can do that, which is understandable. But for me, it's just out of sheer convenience and laziness that it's so easy for me to just eat the same thing every day. Throw some barbecue sauce on there or some sriracha, make it taste a little bit better, palatable, and go on with my day. And once you stop looking at food as like something fun.
Yeah, or trying to like, a lot of people I think use food as like a crutch to help them if they're a little bit upset, or like a lot of people like binge eat because they're bored, or if they're depressed they use food as like a crutch. Well, if you're not using that as a crutch, for instance, or you stress eat, I guess is what they call it, definitely a lot easier to do if you have a different mindset going into it.
I think that was a big problem for me. It wasn't really stress. It was more about boredom. Like I would just, in the middle of the day, there's nothing to do, and I'm
go look in the fridge 10 times.
Go look in the fridge.
See if anything changes.
Or you know what kind of sounds good right now, and then go into town and get like Panda or something.
Or El Maz
El Maz,
yeah.
And I never really ate that bad. It was just like I ate a lot for like no reason.
Yeah, because you didn't. Yeah. Which now you're on the complete opposite, and you notice like you didn't need to eat that much. Like, you're still eating 5 meals a day, but it's not crap food.
Yeah, it's not crap food, and it's not like a ton. Like I'm not super full, but like I'm good for 3 or 4 hours.
Yeah, well, you don't need to. Being full is not necessarily a good thing.
Exactly, you become like You actually
sluggish.
get lazier and sluggish and lethargic.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's like a snake when they eat a big animal. They gotta sit there and digest it before they can move again. You know, that's the same thing with when you eat too much. And we were talking about this earlier. Well, side note, when you're on prepping, it's easier to eat sometimes because you know when you wake up what you're going to eat. And a lot of times you meal prep the night before. So, like, you just grab your meals and you go. Like, you already know around 12 o'clock I'm going to eat this meal. Around 4 o'clock I'm going to eat this meal. So that's easier. But something I learned today is your gut biomes is when you're eating sugary foods or sugary drinks, your gut biomes change to then craving sugar. So, which I'm sure you noticed that if you don't have that discipline to stop it or have done it several times where you can just cut out sugar, once you're able to, after a couple weeks, your gut biomes change, which is what dissolves your food in your stomach and stuff, where you don't crave sugar anymore and you don't have those cravings anymore, which is nice, which I'm sure you're well past that part. But has that changed at all for you with what you used to be eating? Did you notice anything change like that?
No, honestly, it was pretty easy for me. I guess I'm just unique in that way. But, like, I was pretty used to eating the same thing almost every day.
Yeah.
Because, like, I worked in a restaurant and I would eat basically the same thing every day.
Yep. And I think a lot of it is, like, I've always said this, like, when, like, people will change when they know it's time. Like, you can't really push someone to want it. You can't want it for them, just like coaching a sport. Like, you can't want it for your players. But when, like, you look in the mirror and you're just like, today's the day. Like, we're going to do it today. Like,
you got to have a reason why.
Yeah, like, I feel like once you commit to changing your food diet, it's easy. But, like, if you're on the edge still, it's not easy. I mean, we talked about earlier, I personally think the biggest addiction or the hardest addiction to break is bad eating, because you got to eat every day. And there's a lot more choices that are relatively cheaper that is bad food to eat versus trying to be healthy or cooking or having the time to do that, especially if you got kids or stuff like that. Difficult to do. So, yeah, I mean, I totally understand how making that switch is easier once you commit to it.
Yeah, I know. I was definitely committed to it.
Yeah, which that shows of 7 months of prepping, and then
the same foods every day.
Yeah.
Consisting of egg whites and a bagel, going into beef and rice with some blueberries and broccoli, and then salmon or more beef with potatoes. And then a bowl of oatmeal. And
just for anybody that's thinking about trying to eat better to lose weight, this is so if you had like medium, extreme this way of just being, obese, and then you have extreme this way of what he's doing or what I did prepping for a show, this is, you don't have to do that extreme to lose weight to eat healthier. You just have to make healthier decisions.
Oh yeah, so, not at all. Like,
this is the most extreme way of losing weight, and it's being on a super strict meal plan, weighing all your food out, and taking all your vitamins and doing all your workouts and being super consistent with everything. Not skipping a single day, not skipping a beat.
Right.
I think I missed 2 workouts, and it was because I broke my toe.
Yeah, and actually when you broke your toe, I was laughing when I watched you do it, because somebody thought it'd be a great idea to, on a leg press machine, take 2 plates off that are 45
that was
pounds.
your idea.
Just because I jump,
just take 2 plates off.
Just because I jump off a bridge doesn't mean you got to jump with me. All I'm gonna say.
That's not how it works.
All I'm gonna say. And I watched you drop that second plate on your toe.
It hurts so bad.
And what your comment is I think I broke my toe, but who's gonna carry the boats? And if you don't take a Goggins, you know that quote.
I forgot about that. I definitely said that.
Your comment was, but who's going to carry the boats? And we finished that leg day. So
it was a good leg day.
It was a good leg day. So yes, that one workout he missed was not the workout where he broke his toe. It was.
I broke my toe during the workout. Finished the workout.
Yeah, halfway
the next 2 workouts. But because I went to the hospital and they were like, yeah, I would stay off it for a couple days. I was like, all right, that's what you get, a couple days.
But that's what you get, a couple days. And
in the boot. Yeah. At work, yeah.
Yeah, and then I wore a boot for 2.5 months, and that was.
Yeah, how was that wearing being booted? It's like your car that just got booted because you parked in the wrong spot.
Dude, I was just lumping around everywhere, and then
that was funny. You couldn't really walk too well.
Yeah, and I still lifted weights. I kind of didn't do leg days.
Yeah, like leg extensions, even I think that would hurt because
I didn't do anything.
Yeah, your nerves are on your feet, and the blood flow probably puts too much blood to your feet. It would probably hurt.
Just any kind of movement, and then a lot of leg movements require you to bend your ankle. On that boot, I couldn't bend my ankle.
Yeah.
And the shifting around in the boot just made the toe hurt. So I just stayed away from leg days. But cardio, I had to start riding a stationary bike.
That's right, yeah. Which luckily we got one on the back porch for that. That was fortunate.
Yeah, that came in clutch. But yeah, I was definitely on the more extreme side of weight loss.
Which is you just got So what the point I was gonna make is if you're not in good shape or not eating well, don't just take the full extreme route to start with. Start off small. Like if you're not eating breakfast, start with eating breakfast, right? The oatmeal, something like that. Or if you are eating consistent meals, just not good, just make the healthier decision. Then you start losing some weight. Then you cut out the sodas. Then you start losing some more weight. And then you start adding in some cardio. Get a stationary bike at home. Walk 20 minutes fasted. Start doing that. And then you just take little wins and keep compiling up to, I'm going to start doing research on healthier ways to cook this food. And then meal prepping or signing up with a company to get meals shipped right to your house or going to a local health nutrition place and get foods that way. So, a lot of avenues to take, and you feel so much better after a week of doing it. You got more natural energy. You wake up and get out of bed quicker. It's highly recommended. But it's how bad do you want it? That's just one of the things where you gotta want it. Because it is easier. And I'm in sales. Everybody. About 85% of the employees I work with, they DoorDash their breakfast and they DoorDash their lunch, and it's never healthy food. So they call it the car sales 15, where you just the freshman 15 in college where you gain 15 pounds. It's the same thing, because you're at work all day, you really can't take a lunch break because you might miss an opportunity to sell a car. Well, so you just order food, and nobody brings in food anymore. And then on lunch on Saturday when it's provided, it's never anything healthy. So it's definitely easier to not eat healthy.
Oh, it's so much easier, which is why most of the country is obese now.
Yeah. Thankfully for people that want to work hard, you definitely have more opportunity to. So we have a Google Doc here, and at the very bottom, what does that say? A topic that you could follow up with.
Bringing back bullying is what we wrote down, and I'm a big advocate for it because if I didn't have friends every day calling me a fat ass, or just making pushing comments about how big I was or how fat I was, it was just I may have not have ever done anything about it or not taken it serious.
Yeah, and. We brought up David Goggins earlier. He was in a video, and he was talking about people are calling me fat. People are calling me this or overweight, and then he's like, "Well, you might just be fat." Yeah. And he actually threw an F word in there, trying to clean up my language, so I didn't say it.
Yeah, I had to get my one in there. So.
Yeah. See, okay, Mom, we're even. But he said, "Well, maybe you're just fat." So. And there is some truth to that. Sure, it hurts, but maybe you're just fat. And maybe they're telling the truth. Whether they should be saying it, probably not. But sometimes that's the push people need to hear to get them to that point where they're like, you know what, I'm just going to do it. This is, I'm done looking at myself this way. We're making progress. And once you start, you feel so much better.
But if I just didn't have friends that were just straight up with me, which is like a huge thing in any relationship. Is being straight, honest with somebody. Be like, dude, you're getting fat. Like,
yeah. Even relationships. I mean, you can. There's definitely nice ways to do it, but I mean.
Yeah, but you know, when you're with your boys, it's not a big deal.
But yeah, in this world, especially nowadays, it's not easy to grow up into, and it doesn't care about your feelings. So the sooner you get used to that, one, the more personality you're gonna have. Two, the less it's gonna upset you because you've heard worse, right? Like, my dad raised me saying that I will be your biggest asshole boss, and he is 100% true on that one. Like, he has been, but it raised me to going through the workforce is not an issue. Like, I've dealt with a lot of, like, you know, a good amount of stuff for.
I know how that is. I worked with my dad for 7 years.
Right, yeah, like you know what it's like. So now any boss after this is not going to be as bad as your last one because your last one was your dad. You know, so the whole bullying thing. I mean, it's definitely creates a.
But like, to a degree, of course. You know.
Yeah.
It can be good for you. It can, you know, give you motivation to work on your.
Yeah, maybe, you know, natural selection takes place if you can't handle it. You know, but.
Yeah. Well, you know.
But no, for real, like, it's to an extent. I mean, there obviously is too much, and a lot of it. Get off your phone. Like, don't follow stuff that, or don't read comments, whatever. You know, don't follow stuff that could not be healthy for your mental state. Like, or get off your phone, go outside, go do something. You know, go move around. You'll start feeling better. You know, go sit in a cold plunge. Go drink a glass of water. Just simple stuff like that. So.
Yeah, but taking those negative comments and then using them for constructive criticism.
100%. Yeah.
And making a difference in your own life and working on your shortcomings. I'm a big advocate for.
Yeah. Well, and then it's like when someone tells you something and you're like, oh, that's wrong. Like no, you're not right. But like, even though you don't argue it, you're just like, oh, whatever he's saying is not right. Well, you can look at that and learn from it still. Like, okay, why wasn't he right? And why, if I was in his position, why wouldn't I have done that? Because when I get to that position, I know not to do that, and this is why. So that's a good way of, if someone's bullying you or something like that, and just look at it that way, like, that's not true, and this is why. Like, have a reason for why you think the way you think, versus, or if someone's telling you something, or someone's telling you good, like, okay, I did this right, and this is why this is right, so I'm going to keep doing it this way, so.
Yeah, well, I think it was Alex Ramosi video I seen. He was saying that, like, if there's ever, like, people talking about you or saying something rude about you, you just use your past achievements and stuff like that like you've accomplished, past accomplishments, and that's your proof to yourself that, like, those things aren't true.
Right.
Now, in my case, it was true. I was fat. And then, like, all the people that I, like, ever made a fat comment about myself to, and they were like, no, you're not that fat, blah, blah, blah.
Right,
you look
right.
good. I'm like, dude, I own a mirror.
They're doing that to make themselves feel better.
Yeah, they're not helping me or anybody else they tell.
No, they're doing it to make themselves feel better. That's why people secretly like seeing other people fail, because it makes them feel better because they're not trying.
Yeah.
And I believe that people will change when the pain of staying the same is more than the pain of change.
Yeah.
So that is the quote I'm going to leave, is that people will change when the pain of staying the same is more than the pain of change. And that's what we're talking about. Like, when you look in the mirror and say, I'm done, I'm going to change. Well, that's when that point of the teeter-totter is now falling towards, it's easier to change, whether it's for your family, diabetes, you want to look better on the camera versus staying the same. So that's what I'm going to leave this episode 2 with. So anything else? You good there?
No,
Copy.
I'm good. It's
So
a great pod.
Yeah. Episode 2 is done. Once again, comment, share, whatever. Don't do it.
Subscribe.
Yeah, don't do it. Do it. Whatever you guys want to do. We're just here to have fun. So thank you again, and everybody have a good rest of your day.